So much closer, you all, yeah. So I was on my way to church, and this song comes on. I don't know if you know this song. Easy Like Sunday Morning. Do you know the song by the Commodores, sung by Lionel Richie, right? Easy Like Sunday Morning. It's this real floaty song. It's real laid back, and you can tell that Lionel Richie is having a really easy Sunday morning. When I think about Lionel Richie's Sunday mornings, and I think about our Sunday mornings, they're a little different, aren't they? Right? There's nothing easy about our Sunday mornings. We have to get up. We have to make the decision, if it's not already like an automatic, we have to every single Sunday go, am I going to go today or not? I could not. It's raining. Ooh, I could just get coffee and the paper and go back to bed. But there's a moral quandary every Sunday morning that you have to fight through. And you do. And then you come here as if it's just going to get easier, but it's not. We wrestle with the fundamental concepts of life and the universe and God or not and love and what is love and how do we become love and what is our world doing and how do we make our own impact in it. These are the things we wrestle with. There's nothing easy about Sunday mornings. So something must make it worth it. There's a certain amount of trust that we have in one another, and that coming here on a Sunday morning will offer us something. It's a leap of trust. It's a leap of faith every Sunday morning. And yet we find ourselves here when we make that choice to not stay in bed. Good job. I'm talking to the crowd here on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, on bed, that's fine. You're still listening. It's okay. It's okay. But we trust each other. We trust each other that we're creating a place that's dedicated to love, and we trust that our curiosity and listening to one another will help us find a greater expression of what that love might mean and look like in our own life. So we welcome you here this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon, where we do this discernment of love every Sunday and also throughout the week. We welcome you no matter your life story, the color of your skin, what's in your bank account, your sexual orientation, your gender identity. We welcome you no matter where it is you live in Central Oregon. We welcome you if you have a house over your head. If you do not, we welcome you if you have blood running through your veins. We welcome you if you are called to love. You are welcome here. And we are grateful also to welcome so much closer with us this morning on this first Sunday of the month, where we invite in guest musicians from Central Oregon to support local arts, but also because it's really fun, isn't it? So much closer is the songwriting team, husband and wife of Holly Davidson and Jeff Bethke. They live here in Bend, they raise their kids, and they find some time on the side to create beautiful music together. You can find them playing around Bend in Central Oregon in different places, so keep attuned to your local source to find them. But we are lucky enough to have them playing here with us this morning.
Marilyn Kenister is our chalice lighter, and my name is Joe Meyer. We gather today to receive the blessings of trust. May the relationships in this room help us notice we do not walk alone. May the quiet we share help us connect to and trust deepest selves. May the music offered help us feel and hold tight to the restorative rhythms of the world. And may the words offered remind us that we too have a voice, one that must be trusted and shared.
Please rise and embody your spirit. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. My name is Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. And it is time for our Time for All Ages. So if you are young or young at heart, we invite you to make your way to the rug. And this month, we have a new theme.
We do?
We do?
Yep.
What's our new theme?
Trust.
Trust is our new theme. Just wanted to make sure I got it right.
Yeah, that's trust. Yes.
So think
Trust
about,
yourself.
so while our friends are coming to the rug, think about a way that you feel trust. Maybe for yourself or for a friend. I don't know. Think about how you feel trust. So many friends with us this morning. Oh, and who is this? I don't. Is it Josephina? Josefina. We have a friend here, a new friend. Okay. Very cool. We have a dragon with us this morning, I think. Very nice, very nice.
Whoa.
Careful, dragon. All right. So, what is trust? What is it? It's an interesting word to think about. What were you going to say? Trust is kind of like when people understand us, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can work. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Just-
believe in us. Yeah.
They believe
we
in
believe
us.
in them.
Mm-hmm. What does it feel like when we trust?
Depends on the person, but usually terrifying.
Trust can feel terrifying.
It can,
Okay.
Yeah. There's something on the line there when you trust.
Yeah.
For sure.
Trust can also feel good.
Yeah. It can be both things.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I've got a story about trust. It's like a lot of stories about two animals hanging out in the woods together. That's, I don't know, like a lot of wisdom comes from two animals hanging out in the woods. So there was this lion, right? And you know about lions, like king of the jungle kind of thing. They growl and everybody kind of respects them, and they're the ones in charge, the lion. Okay, so the lion's hanging out, doing the lion thing, having a big lazy cat nap in the middle of the day, right? Snoring, lion snores, when all of a sudden this mouse, this tiny little mouse comes up. So, lion's this big. Mouse is just this big. Okay, so the little mouse comes up and sees the lion and thinks, wow, this is cool. It's the lion and he's asleep. I'm going to go check it out. And he runs up the tail and runs up the body and runs up to the lion's head, and it's just hanging out. He's like, this is the coolest thing ever. He says to himself, I can't believe I'm hanging out on the lion's head. He's going to be so cool when he wakes up. He's going to see him. I get to meet him. And as he's saying this, the lion wakes up. Except the lion's not quite so excited to see him. The lion was having a cat nap and does not appreciate being woken up. And so the lion grabs the mouse off the top of his head and says, Mouse, tiny little puny mouse, I was sleeping. You woke me up. I am the king of the jungle, and no one shall interrupt my sleep, especially not a small, tiny little mouse. So I am going to eat you. And the mouse says, whoa, that went way different than I thought it was going to go. Okay, so he says, Lion, look, I'm really sorry I woke you up. You were sleeping. I just got excited. You're kind of a celebrity around here. People know you. So I thought I would, take my chances and get to know you a little bit better. And maybe if you let me go, Lion, how about this? If you're ever in trouble, I'll come help you. And the lion thought that was hysterical. Right? He thought that was the funniest thing he'd ever heard, this little mouse. How's this mouse going to help me, the big lion, the fierce and ferocious lion? But because it made him laugh, and because he thought the mouse was funny, he said, you know what? Look, mouse, I'm going to let you go, because that's hilarious, and you got me back in a good mood. So on your way, mouse. The mouse said, "No, but I'm serious. Thank you for letting me go, lion. I'll be your friend forever, and I'll watch out for you." "Okay, mouse, whatever." So the mouse scurries off, as mouses do. Cat goes back to sleep. The very next day, the lion was walking through the jungle on this path, and all of a sudden this net whoop, snapped him up, and the lion is caught in a hunter's net, trapped, can't get out, big, thick ropes, and the lion thinks, "I am in trouble," and he lets out this roar, this panicked roar that every single animal in the entire jungle heard, even our little mouse friend. And our mouse friend says, "Oh, my lion friend's in trouble. I've got to go help him." And he does. He runs, he finds the lion, and he says, "Well, I can do this. I can help." And he jumps up onto the net, and he starts chewing, because, mice have little, like really sharp little teeth, and he starts chewing on the rope, and it starts to break a little bit, and he chews on this part of the rope, and it starts to break, and he comes over here, he chews on this part, it breaks, and all of a sudden, the fabric gets weak enough, and the net just poof, opens, and the lion comes down, and he falls on the ground. He said, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness. Thank you for coming and helping me, mouse." And the mouse said, "No problem. Remember, I told you that I would. No sweat. And we can be friends now, too." And the lion said, "Friends? You're my best friend. I can't believe that I thought just because you were small that you couldn't help me. I am never going to make that mistake again. And from now on, mouse, you can count on me, and I can count on you. We can trust each other in that." And the mouse said, "That sounds great. I'm going to go tell all my friends." So the mouse and the lion ended up having a relationship of trust in one another, that they can count on one another. Is there anybody in your life you count on, like that you trust and you count on, like you're dependent on them, or like you can just know they're going to be there? Who can you count on? Anyone? Your dog. Yeah, you can count on your dog. I've got 2 dogs. One I can count on, one. Your teachers at school, yep. Emergency hotlines for all kinds of things. That's right. You pick up, they're going to be there. Police can help us. Who else? Your friends, right. That's a great list of people. Can you imagine if those people weren't in your life? No, in some ways we are dependent on other people to live happy, loving, and productive lives. We need one another, deeply, deeply need one another. And we can trust that people can be there for us, that these people will be there for you, and that you all can be there for one another. Being dependent and needing other people isn't such a bad thing. In fact, it's necessary to trust other folks sometimes. So
We explore trust, I think, every week in RE when we play together. Sometimes we have new friends, and we have to learn about how to be kind to them, and we have to learn about how to take turns with things. So I think we're probably going to explore that today, too.
I trust you will.
Yeah. So before we go, we have to say our children's covenant, though. So let's do it together. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Joel's going to lead us through this song that we'll sing through the month of March.
I know this rose will open.
Don't round it. We're not
I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chayla Sloper, the Congregational Life Facilitator, and I have today's announcements. A special welcome to those who are here for the first or maybe even second time. We hope that you feel warmly welcomed and that you will feel inclined and inspired to find UUFCO, the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon, to be your spiritual home. And a special welcome also to those who are on Zoom, maybe for the first or second time. We do have a virtual visitor form that will be dropped into the chat, so let us know that you're with us today. And we do recommend that folks sign up for our all-congregation email. That's the best way to keep on top of what's happening in the life of the congregation. So obviously, we're drawing a crowd these days. So I know from up here that there are seats in the front, but not everybody likes to sit towards the front. So when you come to service, if you can remember to scoot in and maybe scoot forward, that will just help with parking. And also with regard to the parking, just remember not to park in front of the mailboxes across the street. And as it gets to be warmer weather, be sure not to park in the bike lane. So those are just important guidelines. So a recap on this week, very exciting in the on the forward horizons of social justice. The citywide gathering called Understanding Homelessness in Central Oregon that was mostly planned by Ginny McKee and our Homeless Outreach Project was really well attended, and we also had volunteers from our congregation there. If you attended on Wednesday or were a volunteer, could you just stand up just so that we can see who you were? Right. Thank you very much. And so this is sometimes just coming out for something that we can learn and have our thoughts and our attitudes changed. That was really effective. In addition, about 60 women gathered here also on Wednesday for an effort to call our legislators, write letters, actions for democracy. So when you have 60 women together, that was really a powerful effort. So thanks for everybody who did that as well. Today, we're going to hear a little bit more about this from our annual pledge campaign team, but just want to bring to your mind that there is a celebratory meal afterward and everyone's invited. Now, after the service, and possibly it will make more sense to do after that meal, we've been asked by our events team, that is to say those who do the rentals, if we could rack all of the soft chairs. So this will be an effort that if you can lift the chairs, we'll just do that in the sanctuary. Like I say, I think it'll be better to have that meal and then those who can help with that afterward. That would be really wonderful. I do want to highlight a couple of other upcoming things. On the 15th, our DEI group, yes, like I said last week, we have not abandoned our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, but they're going, I know, they're providing a Defend Your Rights seminar on Saturday, March 15th, so we can know whose well-being we can defend and on what legal basis. So that'll be on Saturday the 15th from 9 till noon. And then the following day, on the 16th, there's going to be an Interfaith Earth Summit. This is participated by our environmental justice group, so please mark your calendar for that. There'll be more information in the ACE. I'll say a little bit more about it next week, but we're hosting that here, so that'll be on the 16th. I believe, oh yes, and then the Women's Spring Gathering, Shine Your Light. Laura Pitney will be at a table after the service, and so if you have questions, I just want you to know that this, for the spring, we are having the evening and then Friday evening and Saturday day, and then there'll be a shorter gathering at another time. So we're trying to find a rhythm between a longer commitment of time and exploration and then a shorter time to celebrate together. But if you have questions about the spring gathering for the 21st and 22nd, please talk to Laura. Okay, deep breath. Blessings on your day.
Hey, Sparkles.
Yeah.
It's not February anymore. What are we doing up here?
I think we're giving a final rallying speech asking people to pledge.
Well, we got a lot of good feedback on last year's speech. Do you think anyone will notice if we use the same speech?
Would we notice if we use the same speech?
Well, Sparkles, as of today, we are at 71% of our goal.
Woo! But considering that that's less of half than our pledges that we have expected to come in, we've still got some work to do, y'all.
And by we, Steph means that we are going to be calling you soon to remind you to pledge.
Yeah, you know, if you wanted Nathan and I to call you, there are simpler ways to get our attention than not turning in your pledges, guys.
So, if we're expecting half of the people here to pledge still, what does that mean?
It means it's still on half the people's to-do list, silly.
Half of us still have pledge cards sitting on our stuff counter or hanging off the side of our fridge?
Well, absolutely. And while the support from our community is immensely encouraging, these pledges are crucial for the financial committee to formulate next year's budget. Without these pledges, we'd be unable to accurately forecast income and effectively distribute our resources.
But so many of us have recurring gifts. Leora already knows how much we pledge our contribution. Why should we pledge again?
Little sidebar, have we pledged? I thought we pledged already. Okay. But Leora doesn't know, based on recurring gifts, what you intend to pledge this year. That was like last year's thing. And while we're grateful for every form of support, recurring gifts don't reflect your intended annual commitment. That's a really hard line to say, and I'm going to stick by that. And it's vital for us to know your pledge for this year to plan effectively.
Wow. Speaking of Leora, we want to send our immense gratitude to Leora, Scott, and all the staff who made our campaign possible.
We would also like to recognize our burgeoning Pledge Campaign Committee and all the hard work they've put in next year. Please stand for applause if you're one of our 2 members. Woo!
And you all, give yourselves a round of applause. Your dedication in showing up by sending your pledge cards is wonderful.
Based on the generosity you've shown, we are going to have a great foundation for our budget for this upcoming fiscal year that will help us with our goals within this community.
But what are we going to do for those who haven't pledged yet?
We're going to have a party after service today. We're going to celebrate the people who have, and hopefully that includes everybody who will be putting in their pledges as the party happens.
Today.
Today.
Wow. I've noticed that there's even a QR code to pledge. It's okay. If you're over 15, ask someone who's under the age of 15 to explain how to do it.
We are so grateful for all your support year after year in making this place beautiful, powerful, and loving, and also fiscally solvent.
So, pretend like it's February 30th. Think about that. And come see us at the pledge campaign table after service today so that we can, during the gratitude party, so we can sneak in your pledge.
Yay, thank you all.
Another round of applause for Steph and Nathan and their leadership of our stewardship this year. And just so you know that I share company, I have not pledged yet either. So I will be seeing you at the table after today. Yes. I do that just for solidarity, for those of you who have not. Of course. Well, we do ask you for money to help this place thrive and exist so that we can serve one another and we can hopefully serve our outside world. We make that ask, and we know that there's trust involved in that. When you offer your resources to support this place, we take that very seriously. We take that as a sacred obligation that you can have trust in this place and know that when you do pledge, that money is going to create a greater impact of love in this world. So sometimes, yes, we ask for money so that this place can go forward. And on the first Sunday of the month, we also ask for money so we can support other good organizations in our community through our greater community collection. We have a team that collects submissions, and then we look and we see what kind of work all these folks are doing, and we find organizations that are in line with our mission. Well, Smart Reading is certainly one of those organizations. This congregation supports early childhood education through our Fireflies program that gives backpacks to students through the summer, as well as through our tutoring programs. So the early education is something near and dear to this congregation's heart. And for our greater community collection, I'd like to invite up Jennifer Zardinejad to talk about the Smart Reading program.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, my name is Jennifer, and I'm with Smart Reading. Smart Reading is a statewide literacy organization. We serve kiddos with 2 ingredients for literacy and learning success: reading support and access to books. Our volunteers work with pre-K to 3rd grade children, so students in Head Starts and elementary schools, to provide weekly reading support. And kiddos in the program get to choose and keep 14 books throughout the program year to build their own personal libraries at home. And perhaps now, more than ever, we know how important it is for kids to have access to books that they can see themselves reflected in, and how important reading is. SMART has been in Central Oregon for 33 years. Our office here in Bend, there's 2 staff members, and we serve 23 sites throughout Central Oregon. We serve Crook, Deschutes, Grant, Jefferson, Harney, and Northern Klamath counties. This year, we're serving almost 1,100 kiddos, and we're gonna give away 15,000 books. I know, it's so exciting. It's important to note, we don't teach reading. We are not educators. We did not go to school. Some of our volunteers did, but we're just there to make reading a fun and positive experience, because we know if kiddos enjoy doing it, then they're more likely to continue it. Our program is kid-driven. They get to pick out the books they read each week. They get to pick out the books that they take home, even if it's the same book week after week, and even if it's Captain Underpants. We're gonna read it to them. Our focus is on pre-K to 3rd grade, because 3rd grade is that switch from learning to read to reading to learn, and so we focus on those earlier years. We have also recently expanded our programming to include free book fairs. So we collect used books, we clean them back up to gift quality, which means you would feel comfortable giving that book as a gift to someone, and then redistribute them back into the community. It's similar to a Scholastic book fair, but all the books are free. And this is our first year that we're sort of stepping our toes into that, and we're really excited about that opportunity to serve more kiddos in Central Oregon. Normally when I'm speaking to a group, I ask them each to stand up and talk about, remember your favorite book as a child. I was given strict time instructions, so we can't do that. But I want you to think about it. Think about that book that you remember from your childhood and how it made you feel. For me, 4th grade field trip, Bridge to Terabithia. Anybody who's read that knows how it ends. I was a 4th grader crying on the school bus, and I had no idea that a book could make you feel that much. And I still feel that 30 years since 4th grade. That book is in my heart. And our hope is that these books that the kids are reading in our program and that they take home one day becomes that book that they think about 30 years from now and look back on fondly and feel all the feels. If you're interested in learning more about our program, I will be outside at a table after this and would love to talk to you about our volunteer opportunities, what our program entails, and how you can get involved. Thank you.
We'll now take our greater community collection to support the work of the SMART program.
This song is the one song we're playing today that we didn't write. It's called Heavy. It's by Bird Talker. Highly recommend looking that band up. You're welcome to sing along. The line that we repeat is "Leave what's heavy behind."
If you're lost and you're lonely, go and figure out why. Take a trip to your dark side. Go on and have a good cry. 'Cause we're all lonely. Yeah, we're all lonely together. I want to see your sadness. I want to share your sin. I want to bleed your blood. I want to be let in. But don't we all just wanna be together? Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. If your face is down, we'll take a look around. Do your fingers move? Do your lungs inflate? Are you tired? Are you weary of the hidden hate you've been holding? Yeah. Did you lose that love, or have you never had it? Are you feeling sad 'cause you did a bad thing? Yeah. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Are you feeling fearful, brother? Are you feeling fearful, sister? Only way to lose that fearful feeling, replace it with love that's healing. Are you feeling fearful, brother? Are you feeling fearful, sister? Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind. Leave what's heavy, what's heavy behind.
Thanks. Wow. I'd like to invite out some folks who gathered in our conference room this morning and did this little thing called signing a book. That book happened to be our membership book. And so we invite out these good folks. In doing so, they made a trust statement. They made a trust statement into this congregation that they trust that this is a place, a spiritual home, where they can find welcome, where they can find challenge, and they can find community. I think their trust is well placed.
So they'll be introducing themselves to you, and part of this process and what we absolutely rely on is that all of their contributions will transform them and also transform us and transform the world. So I do want to make a little pitch that the next classes will be on April 1st and 8th, Tuesday nights 5 to 7. You can sign up at the kiosk. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves. And they'll be sharing a word of either how they feel about membership or just how they are in this moment.
Good morning. My name's Nathan Bestel. Today, I feel embraced and so happy that my parents happen to be visiting and they're here with me today.
Joan Armstrong, and I belong to 5 different churches, Unitarian churches around the United States, and I'm new to this area, and I'm really happy. I had to work at it, but I got here. When you don't drive anymore.
My car drives. I'm Sally Foster, and I'm very happy. I feel very centered being here. I was part of this fellowship in the early 70s, and then other things came along and I dropped out. So I'm very happy to be back.
I'm Joy Fries, and very happy to be here. And my word or little thing after the song particularly is this is a soft place to fall.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I'm grateful for community. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Diane Moyerman, and I'm very happy to be here as well. My words that I'd like to share are freedom of thought.
My name's Meredith Lindsay. The second time we visited the church, or visited here, I felt very comfortable, and I thought, this is my spot. I feel very good today.
My name is Bill Lindsay, and there's a lot has been said about pronouns. One of the nicest things I ever heard was here in this church when someone said my pronouns or anything said with love. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Bill Barber, and my word is love.
Hi, I'm Matthew Hill, and I'm excited to be a new member.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Tate. Joining the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon means entering into a covenantal relationship, a relationship of mutuality, of giving and receiving. Our mission is that we join together to find meaning, celebrate life, and to serve the spirit of love and justice in our world. So I want to ask our existing members of UUFCO a couple of questions. And if you agree at the end of the 3 questions, you can say, we will. As these new members join us, will you once again renew your own commitment to this congregation as we live into beloved community? And will you always work to create a space of welcome, of exploration, of justice, and mutual support through the joys and sorrows of life? And will you receive our new members with open arms and hearts, celebrating their now deeper connection with this community? If so, say we will. All right. Welcome, new members. Welcome to all you new members of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. On behalf of the membership, we extend to you all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities associated with membership in the congregation. I encourage you all to learn about our Unitarian Universalist tradition, our history, and our promise. You're now part of this congregation with all its imperfections and beauty, with all our human frailty, our power, and our hope. We joyfully receive you as members among us. All right.
Got a bigger guy than you. Yeah.
One of the things that they said in that was that we join together throughout our joys and our sorrows. We know that as a community that supports one another, we know that both those show up, joys, sorrows, and also gratitudes through life. And so we share those with one another. We have these forms that are on our kiosk if you'd like to share one with the entire congregation. Or if this morning there is a joy or a sorrow or gratitude in your heart that you would just like to light a candle for, you can do that as well. Those are on the sides of our sanctuary. All right, well, Ann Wyman says, "Happy 121st birthday to one Dr. Seuss. I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny." Let me try that again. I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we could have lots of good fun that is funny. There we go. All right, Mari Brennan shares, "My dear friend's daughter is losing her short battle with cancer. Please keep their family in your hearts this week. A surge of love from Bend." Thank you. Our thoughts are with you and them, Mari. Noreen Halberstadt, who's at RE, writes, "My gratitude is that my daughters, Isla and Jazz, got to see Garth Brooks at Caesar's Palace in Vegas last night. Close family friends who took them are personal friends of his, so they went to his green room before the show to hang out, and he met them at the door in his pajamas brushing his teeth." They had a great time. I'm glad. And Liz Doherty writes, "Despite our government's betrayal of Ukraine, I know we of good conscience and compassion continue to stand firmly for President Zelensky and his brave citizens fighting to defend themselves. It's not about politics, it's about the very core of what we stand for. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Those words of Martin Luther King were never more relevant." James Simmons Cox writes, "For emotional and spiritual healing for us, may our UU spirit of unconditional acceptance bring us back into our field of love, for this field of love supports the inward healing that we seek." Indeed, James. Well, let's take a deep breath and enjoy some sweet silence with one another. These weeks are full. These weeks are difficult. It can be that this might be the only time in your entire week that you remember to just breathe, to take the silence in, to do this in community.
This is a song we wrote called Keep Your Head Up.
Put your heart on your sleeve, baby, I will wear it. Take that load off your shoulders, maybe we can share it. Set your mind at ease. I'll help you bear it, and I'll never leave, baby, I swear it. Stop right now, breathe on out what weighs you down. Stop right now, breathe on out what weighs you down, so you can keep your head up. I will love you. Keep your head up, we will see it through. Keep your head up, you are not alone. Keep your head up, I won't let you go. Keep your head up, I will love you. Keep your head up, we will see it through. Keep your head up, you can always call. Keep your head up, I will break your fall. Keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up.
Thank you.
What do you trust? What do you put trust into? There can be lots of answers. There's not just one answer. There's lots of answers to this. Some people trust the spirit of love. Some people trust peer review science articles. Some people trust their intuition. Some people trust their experience. Some people trust death and taxes. There are lots of ways and lots of things in which we place our trust. And that is a sacred and holy act, the act of offering trust. So actually don't think about it. You don't need to think about what you trust. They've already answered it for you. It's right here on the back of the $1 bill, and in fact, on the back of all of our bills and coins, it says, "In God we trust." So there you go. Answered. Simple. Just like that. But it's never that simple, is it? Strange that it's on our money. I've always found that strange. In God we trust, right there on our currency. Well, it wasn't always there. It happened in 1956. It actually started happening during the Civil War. The idea of "in God we trust" was used by the Union soldiers to declare some moral high ground, but also to create some morale for the soldiers. And so "in God we trust" became something that our country started using. And then in 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "You know, that's pretty catchy, 'In God we trust.' Let's just go ahead and make that our national motto." It was unofficially E pluribus unum. Did I say it wrong? E pluribus, my Latin's a little rusty. E pluribus unum. Am I saying it right? I said it right, right? No? E pluribus unum. I looked it up this morning, you all. I swear I did. There was a debate on unum or unum. Okay, unum. Unum wins. I digress. All right, so So Dwight D. Eisenhower said, well, let's just go ahead and put it on everything. So we switched it. That was the de facto motto of our country. And now, in 1956, we decided that we're just going to officially make it "In God We Trust." So there's your government making your faith statement for you. No need to do it yourself. But it's never really that easy, is it? I'm going to argue today, at least for me personally, that I can get behind that. And yet, as Unitarian Universalists, we know that it's not that simple. We always have to ask the question, well, in God we trust. Who's the we? But also, God. What do we mean by God? And so then, of course, we get into a theological conversation because we can't use the word God without doing so and dissecting it and finding out who believes what and who doesn't believe what. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a congregation that welcomes theistic believers in God, and we welcome humanistic atheists who do not believe in God, and all parts in between. That is who we are, and it works because we allow the space for that kind of diversity of thought, kind of like Diane said, freedom of theological thought. Well, I had an experience that I find is pretty similar to a lot of our congregants, our new members. We meet, and one of the things we do in our new member classes is we share, just ever so briefly, our spiritual journey. And there is a theme that comes up over and over again. Many of us in our religion of origin were raised with an idea of God. And then at some point, for many of us, it got tricky. Okay, so what do we mean by God? I was raised as a Presbyterian. And so there was an idea, an image of God that was very specific, and yet there was space for mystery. And as I got to a certain age, the doctrines and all the rules and things around Jesus and all the creeds started becoming problematic. And I remember talking to my Sunday school teacher one time. I said, I think I can get behind the God thing, because that's pretty mysterious and abstract. But all these rules around Jesus, I'm having a hard time with. And I had a great Sunday school teacher, and he just said, well, let's talk about that. Let's explore that. And so we did. And my ideas of God began to shift and to become more flexible. As Unitarian Universalists, we are invited to explore multiple understandings of God or question the existence of God altogether. We draw from all kinds of sources: the wisdom of humanism, the insights of Buddhism, the poetry of mysticism, and the scientific understanding of the cosmos. All of this and more. Bring it on in. So when we hear the phrase, "In God we trust," we might, as Unitarian Universalists, ask ourselves, does this hold anything for us collectively? Well, I'm going to argue that for me it does, but to do so, I'm going to go back in time to one of our theological ancestors, Friedrich Schleiermacher. Friedrich Schleiermacher. Say it with me. Friedrich Schleiermacher. And that's your cliffhanger.
That got us. That was unexpected. Oh, we're up. We love this, and this is our last song we're doing. We do just want to say thank you. This is a beautiful congregation. We appreciate being invited, and I think I'm excited to hear the rest of the reflection. Do you want to say this song in particular is called "Let's Live"? It's a little bit about trusting in yourself. I wanna learn the hard way. I don't wanna wait for better days. Don't wanna play it safe, don't wanna fade away. I'd rather break than get stuck between a rock and a hard place. I wanna give my heart away. I don't care if it bends or breaks. Doesn't matter if I fall down or if I
hit the ground. I'd rather bruise than be somebody else's lost and found. Now I'm not saying I know anything for sure, but I'm not playing in the same old sandbox, not playing no more. Let's live while we can. Let's give with open hands. Let's crash every party like we're part of the band. Let's lift our heads out of that God-forsaken sand. Let's live. I wanna call the next play. I don't care if it's a big mistake. I'd rather take the blame without an ounce of shame. I'd rather lose than be the winner of another's game. Now I'm not saying I know what's right. I'm only saying that there's no way I'm going out without a fight. Let's live while we can. Let's give with open hands. Let's crash every party like we're part of the band. Let's lift our heads out of that God-forsaken sand. Let's live. If this is it, if this is all that exists, then let's live while we can. Let's give with open hands. Let's crash every party like we're part of the band. Let's lift our heads out of that God-forsaken sand. Let's live. Let's live. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So Friedrich Schleiermacher had the same experience that I had in my high school youth group. It's an experience that happens for people who are theologically thinking throughout time. So in 1799, he writes a book. This is in response to the Enlightenment. So that's also our theological ancestors, the Enlightenment. So over here you had like Kant and Hume. They're doing all this rational thinking on critique of pure reason. How do we know what we can know? What can we trust? Very cerebral stuff, right? And the Enlightenment had taken off, and so in the time, the Academy started looking at philosophy more than what it had done was look at theology, because that was how people thought about deep thoughts. Well, Friedrich Schleiermacher, I'll probably say the whole thing every single time because it's just so fun to say. Friedrich Schleiermacher wrote a book called On Religion, Speeches to Its Cultured Despisers. Now, this is one of the greatest titles I've ever heard in my entire life. You can hear the shade that he's throwing right there in the title. And the book is actually kind of hilarious for being written in 1799 and being a theological treatise. But the whole thing has this feeling of it, of like, oh, thinking's great. And all you people who are critiquing religion and tearing it down are missing something incredibly important. He believed that these traditional doctrines, all these creeds, they were not the heart of religion. They were not what faith is all about. He proposed that the essence of religion and God is this feeling available to humans of the divine, a deep intuitive sense of what he called God's presence in our soul and all around us. Schleiermacher argued that religious experience doesn't come from rational arguments, though those are important for creating the construct of our faith. He said, but really it's that internal sense of the holy, the divine, something inside of us that makes us alive and connects us. So for Schleiermacher, to trust in God wasn't about believing words that another human had put on a page. It was about cultivating an inner trust, about trusting this sense of connectedness that he found himself a part of it. Connected with that divine that transcends all of our experience, and connected with each other. It was something deep. He would say it was actually the deepest you can go. That's what religion is about. That sense that the divine is always present, even in difficult and uncertain times when it doesn't feel available to us. And he called this inherent sense of the divine, a feeling of absolute dependence. That's the one sentence summary of his entire book. That religion and God are about this feeling of absolute dependence. Not something that we can control, but sometimes something we can get a slight whisper of. And in our practice, through spiritual practice and through community, perhaps we can feel that or hear that whisper a little louder and more often. So this more personal experience of God that he was looking for didn't require him to abandon the idea of God altogether, as his other Enlightenment thinkers were prone to do. He was looking for something that he experienced. This is starting to feel very Unitarian Universalist to me. Over here, the mind, and we value that, critique and reason and rational thought. But over here, we have this experiential process of being alive, of being dependent on all that is around us. And to trust in this view is what Schleiermacher invites us into. Not to affirm a particular image of God or specific religious tradition or idea around it, but to embrace this feeling of connection, of being held in this vast existence, in this vast cosmos. So then our choice, a religious path, is to trust this connection, to surrender into it, to experience being a part of this divine whole. And so whether we call this what he's calling a divine presence, whether we call that God or the spirit of life or simply the universe, we can trust in it just the same. This trust that we are all here. That's reasonable to trust. Here we are, we exist. But if that is true, what else is true? It is that we are all absolutely dependent. And there's a feeling that's connected to this. It's one of connection. It's one of humility. It is one of community. This interdependent web of existence of which we are all a part. We know this when we study the cosmos and we see how it works and fits together, everything related, everything connected, from the stars to ourselves. It's the way the world is constructed. But it's also the way that our relationships are constructed. We need one another. We depend on one another as humans, as creatures on this planet. When we can tap into this feeling of connection, when we can trust it, we can trust that every moment can be infused with meaning, and that every experience we have holds the potential for spiritual growth in our lives. This feeling of absolute dependence asks us to trust our heart, not only our minds, recognizing that we can experience something that is sacred without having to have all the answers tucked away neatly in our mind. That our faith, that our trust doesn't have to be about certainty always, but it can be about embracing this mystery that we are a part of and honoring that feeling of connection and dependence. As Unitarian Universalists, we're not called to believe one single thing, but we can proclaim what is true to us, and that is that we are deeply connected and deeply related and deeply dependent. There will always be questions that we can't answer, but there will also always be the experience of being alive for as long as we take our breath. So What can we trust? There are lots of things we can trust. There are lots of things we find that we can't trust. But perhaps one of those deeper ones that we can trust is the fact that we are alive. We are dependent. And this provokes in us, as Schleiermacher would say, a feeling that is religion, that is God. These moments of awe and love and connection, what they do to us, we can trust that with the deepest spiritual and religious parts of our being. They are as real and meaningful as any scientific formula that can be proven, albeit using a different method. We can trust this journey that we're on, both of our heart and our head. And we can be grateful. We can do this work in community. We can trust one another to be on this journey together, moving forward in our search for truth, guided by, yes, of course, reason and fact, but also guided and moved by that deep feeling within us that can always be found if we look for it. May we embrace this mystery of life, not having to explain it away, but trusting that it is there holding us always. So, I take a little umbrage with my government making this faith statement for me. In God we trust. My government is making many statements for me recently as an American that I'm not completely on board with. So perhaps it doesn't belong on our currency. But whatever it is that makes you feel connected, in awe of this world, wherever you can honor that feeling of absolute dependence, which is true, people. Absolute dependence on one another and on this universe that we are a part of. May we feel that and be guided to open, to be curious about what is unfolding and dedicating it to unfolding in a path of love. May it be so. I'll invite you to rise and body your spirit, because while we can trust this feeling of absolute dependence, here in these parts we say you can also trust the motivation of love to guide us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
We invite you to join us after our service as we celebrate the generosity of this congregation in continuing our work. Talk to someone new during that time. Be curious about who all is supporting this place and a part of this mission. I'll invite you to say the covenant of our congregation as we close our time together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. It's our covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help another. Could we get another round of gratitude and appreciation for so much closer Jeff and Holly, who joined us here this morning? Thank you all. We're also grateful for our fun team who put our time together of celebration after this together. And we're grateful for you. We're grateful for life. This is a repeat after me benediction. Are you ready? I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. Go in peace, go for justice, and go with love.